Who would have thought that the great Italo-American director, Martin Scorsese, would first come to the public's attention via an exploitation movie? It's just as well that Boxcar Bertha happens to be a very good one. I'm Stephen Archibald, and welcome to my movie podcast.
Boxcar Bertha and her boys took what they wanted.
No, 50s. It's 50.
Meet Boxcar Bertha, queen of the gun toters.
Ooh, invitations, please.
I think we got them.
Here he is, right here.
That's it.
Yeah. The lady would like to say something.
Yes, I'd just like to say, this is a holdup.
Bertha was a fun-loving gal.
Stand up. Sit down.
Hello to you, and welcome to my podcast, They Came From Within, Cult Movie Reviews. The Girl on the Train. Boxcar Bertha, 1972. Bloody Mama, from 1970, was one of the big hitters for the B-movie king, Roger Corman. Corman and American International Pictures wanted there to be another Depression-era movie with a strong female lead. Roger's wife Julie looked into it and came across the book Sister of the Road, the autobiography of Boxcar Bertha Thompson. It certainly caught Roger's attention. Having watched Martin Scorsese's debut movie, Who's That Knocking at My Door, which featured Harvey Keitel in his first screen role, Corman wanted him to direct Boxcar Bertha. This riveting crime story is set in America during the Great Depression. A bewitching Barbara Hershey stars as the eponymous character, a young Southern girl who becomes an orphan when her father's crop dusting aircraft plummets to the ground, killing him instantly. The spirited Bertha Thompson takes to hopping from freight train to freight train, thus earning her nickname. She gets romantically involved with a committed union organiser called Big Bill Shelley, and along with a Yankee con man called Rake Brown, and Von Morton, a black employee of her late father, they get sucked into a life of crime, robbing banks and clashing with the brutal enforcers of the railway boss H. Buckram Sartoris. The excellent lead actors in this movie had already been selected before Scorsese was chosen to direct. Big Bill Shelley was played by David Carradine, Rake Brown by Barry Primus, and Von Morton by Bernie Casey. David Carradine's father John played the pitiless railroad boss Sartoris. Like Corman's Bloody Mama, Boxcar Bertha was filmed in Arkansas, a place which perfectly evokes the America of this era. It was also where Barbara's mother Melrose hailed from. Incidentally, one of the main characters in Bloody Mama was played by a young Robert De Niro, who, like Harvey Keitel, would go on to star in a number of Martin Scorsese's most celebrated films. In fact, Martin followed this film with Mean Streets, which stars both Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. The film's frequent scenes of violence veer between the exhilarating and the gruesome, but the picture holds your attention throughout. It also manages to maintain a rather tender love story between Bertha and Bill. Barbara Hershey and David Carradine had met on the set of a Glenn Ford Western movie called Heaven with a Gun, which came out in 1969, and the two of them fell in love. They remained together until 1975, and their son Free, who's now called Tom, was born in 1972. The film opens with a rather curious statement, which goes, "The following events are adapted from the true experiences of Boxcar Bertha Thompson, as related in the book Sisters of the Road." This statement is only partially true. There is a book called Sisters of the Road, but it's a pseudo-autobiography, first published in 1937. A book which the public thought to be co-written by Bertha Thompson and Dr. Ben L. Reitman. It was really Reitman himself who wrote this fictional work, which has factual elements. Bertha's an amalgamation of 3 women Reitman had known, and she's mostly based on a woman called Retta Tobel. Ben Reitman's own life would make for an interesting movie. He really was a physician, one who helped the poor and destitute in Chicago, and he even spent 6 months in prison for advocating birth control.
Close your eyes and open your mouth. Now don't move.
She had a taste for loving and an empty boxcar for a boudoir.
I've been lots of places.
You ever been with a man?
Like Alfred Hitchcock, Martin Scorsese storyboarded this film, producing 500 drawings to work from. And, like Hitchcock, Martin makes a cameo appearance in Boxcar Bertha, as he has done so in a number of his films. At one stage in the story, Bertha winds up working as a prostitute. Scorsese plays a client who politely asks if he can spend the night with her. Despite the picture's tough subject matter, Barbara has gone on record to say that making Boxcar Bertha was a lot of fun for her, Martin Scorsese, and the rest of the cast. Barbara admitting that she and David didn't have to fake their love scenes certainly generated much interest. The railway scenes were all filmed at the start of production, so as to get the more complex shooting sequences out of the way. They took about a week to film. Arkansas's Reeder Railroad was utilised. This tourist-only railroad was open between 1973 and 1991. Apart from Bertha's loving relationship with Bill, her friendships with Rake and Von Morton are also nicely played out. Bernie Casey's Von Morton character transforming into an avenging angel at the end of the movie is a sight to see. Let's just say it's a bit of a blast. And as for Barry Primus as Rake Brown, you really feel for him when, following a brief spell as Bertha's lover, he knows he's lost her as soon as she meets up with Bill again. The solid screenplay was written by the couple John and Joyce Corrington. They penned 5 screenplays together, the other 4 being Corman's Von Richthofen and Brown, The Omega Man, The Arena, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. In fact, Barry Primus appeared in Von Richthofen and Brown as the Nazi Hermann Göring. Aside from Hitchcock, Martin Scorsese clearly adores Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger, the men who together made such brilliant films as A Matter of Life and Death, Black Narcissus, and The Red Shoes. As a jokey homage to them, Scorsese had their names added to the cast list on the end credits. Boxcar Bertha was filmed over a 6-week period. Towards the end of 1971, it cost $600,000 to make. It had its premiere in Arkansas on the 13th of June 1972 and went on general release in the States the following day. It was released in the UK in April 1973. Barbara would work with Martin Scorsese again on the controversial The Last Temptation of Christ from 1988. Ironically, both Scorsese movies that Barbara appears in feature a crucifixion. I'm Stephen Archibald, and thanks for listening to my podcast, They Came From Within, Cult Movie Reviews. Feel free to follow me, and all of my episodes are available from most podcast outlets, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so forth. Please take care of yourself, And goodbye for now.
Bertha and her gang made a name for themselves with the police, but the newspapers were too polite to print it.
Hi. You're coming with us.
Drop it, Billy boy. Don't make me do what I want to do.